Hi folks, welcome back to the channel. Thank you very much for joining me once again. You are always most welcome. Well, today, how stupid is your stash? Episode 3, the ultimate solution. I don't know, it would have made sense to call it the final solution, but I don't want to upset anybody who would be misinterpreted. But it is the final solution to the problem. We're going to talk about whether people have taken any notice at all of my good advice, including me, given in these videos. We're going to talk about stashes. We're going to talk about what you're doing with them, whether they're going up, whether they're going down, how many you're building, are you just a collector really, you don't want to admit it, etc. And we're going to get drilling right into the amount of sin that you've committed since the last video. It's about 2 years ago. Come on. I suspect a lot of you will start to put your head in your hands or hide behind the sofa for this one, or cover your ears because you're going to, you're going to get outed basically. Not me though. Now you're probably already wondering, well, this is odd because every time you do one of these videos, I am surrounded by just 1% of my stash and it almost buries me, you can barely see me. And that's not the case today, but we'll get into that later, what the reasons for that are. One or two housekeeping things I want to just clear up first. I'm just going to turn that light off there. And by the way, yes, we'll get into these figures you just saw in a second. I just want to talk about. I've got my arch light on. I just want to say a great big thank you to ICM. You remember that we had the flying suitcase version of the Hamden, the late version, Handley Page Hamden HP 52. And we had the sprues in front of me, which were very, very warped indeed, and wasn't clearly to do with packaging, the way it had been rammed into the pack. Somebody just getting a bit too enthusiastic. So there was that, and there was the scuffed clear parts. All fixed now, all fixed. So, thank you very much to ICM for doing that. I've actually now resealed that kit with the brand new sprues in. So it's a brand new kit basically, completely new sealed bag it comes in as well, so it's untouched by me, even with the gloves. So that, all is well, all is well. I have here spares, if anybody wants some spares, maybe an offer, or there's only one part on that clear sprue that's got an issue, so if anybody gets into trouble with their Hamden or glues up the clear parts or something, let me know and I'll try and help you out. And we've also got this bit warped, but not beyond recovery. It's not as bad as that ME 109 was from Airfix, to be fair, so I'm going to put that out of the way. Then I'm going to switch off. Well, some of you want to see the mosquito, I know that. Nothing's happened to it, I'm afraid, but I will explain. I've really got a very good reason, a good excuse this time, a proper excuse. Let me just show you though, for those of you that haven't seen it, just so you know it still lives. It's been under its little dust cover for quite a while. You can see here we've got the cockpit pretty much done. With all the instrumentation is there. I'm very happy with it, I've got to be honest. I'm not, I don't think I've made the greatest one in the world ever, but it's as good if not better than I'd hoped, so that is more than good enough for me in terms of the actual cockpit detail. Whoops, a bit lost there in the background. So that is something that I'm quite pleased with, to be honest. All is on schedule. On schedule! One of you was very sarcastic, by the way, the other week when I did my little update for 1st of June. And somebody said, and he quoted, one of you from Australia, was it Mark Gordon? Well, I think it might have been Mark Gordon in Australia, and he said, because I was quoting the Imperial officer in Star Wars Return of the Jedi, wasn't it? Where Vader was berating him for taking too long on the Death Star 2 construction, which is a bit like this really, Death Star 2. And he said, I tell you, this station will be completed on time. And I hope so, Commander, for your sake. The Emperor is not as forgiving as I am. And by the way, he's coming here and he's going to force choke you if you don't get it done double quick. And he's, we'll redouble our efforts, blah blah. Anyway, but Mark had said, Peter, was it Mark? I might be maligning him, it might be somebody else in Australia. But he said something about, your on schedule is the same as the Australian government's construction. I think he mentioned a bridge. So there's some construction projects taking forever apparently. But I tell you, this will be completed by Christmas Eve. It will be We are now midsummer already, aren't we? Almost, jeez. Anyway, moving on. I'll explain why I've not been doing any progress, what my excuse is. So, all these things are tied in together actually. Right, we're going to talk about stashes today. I have found the perfect solution, and it's something that you can use, especially those of you who might be married or living with a partner or whatever, and a significant other who does not approve of your methods of model collection. Stashing up. I think I've found the way out for all of you. I'm going to share my secret so that you might get back in favour with them and live a lie. Live a double life even. Oh yes. You're going to love this. So you're still thinking, you're watching this, you're thinking, okay, he's going to be quite entertaining, but where the hell are the models? Okay. Why haven't I put them out? Well, of course I've got models. No, I haven't actually. I've got this one. I've got some models here. Let me just get this one out. So there's this one. There's this one. This monster. Da da da. What a surprise! The mosquito. Yeah. Beautiful, isn't it? Lovely kit. That's my favourite kit probably of all time so far. If I'm honest. See, it's right up there. Yes. So obviously we talked about. I'll explain more about that in a second. We talked about the list. I've got a little list, and I've got my little list here which I haven't updated. I've been really bad actually. Now joking apart, it's a bit pathetic really. I should have practiced what I preached and updated this list, and I haven't. So on this list, you can see it there, it's got a few of the ICM kits on it in fact, although quite a few of those I've actually given to people as gifts. But it's showing 215 on the little list, and this is way out of date. That's a year out of date. So I reckon that my current true stash figure, if you include the ICM kits, it's about 300 kits. 320, 325, 325 I'm going to go for. Yeah. Now, some of you have given me kits as gift. ICM donate them to me for review, obviously, and several of you loan them, and sometimes, so I get bought them as presents from family and friends, and so on. Hasn't really got under any more control than it was before. Got to say that it's got bigger and bigger and bigger and become a major logistical problem. And this is what I'm going to talk about today. How do you know when it's become too much? How are you going to get around this issue of causing more? And it's a creeping thing, isn't it? You don't go out and buy a stash of 325 kits like I've got. You don't just do that. The value of mine, by the way, is probably nudging on 6,000 quid, I reckon. It's disproportionate because of all the Wingnut Wings kits, of course, in the lost ark of the covenant of Wingnut Wings kits, which makes mine is very high value versus the number of actual that are in the stash, because there's so many Wingnut Wings. So we've got, I think there's 20 Wingnut Wings now. 20 Wingnut Wings, and some of them are the big bombers which are worth hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pounds. So yeah, it skews the numbers a bit. So when I say 5-6 grand's value, yeah, you'd think it would be a lot less than that, but it isn't. And then of course, in my case, there's the Matchbox stash, which is about 160 kits. So if you take Matchbox out, that literally halves the stash, to be honest. Then there's like a group of kits, there's about 30 or 40 that I plan to build, but genuinely would like to build, and I'm keen to build 30 or 40 of them, that I can see myself building, one sort of rainy day or winter's day, get them out and start building them when I've not got such a big project on as this, obviously. And then there's all the others that I just like the kit. May not build it, but like it, don't let it go, or it might be collectible or something like that. There's quite a few of those as well. And then, of course, on top of that, there's the ICM kits that I've had donated by them, many of which are actually going to be given, not just them, but some of the ICM kits certainly will be given on to my members as a sort of reward for membership. So you can see that I've got some kind of built-in excuses here. It's not quite as bad as it sounds. In real terms, the stash has probably gone up by about 10%, actually, as opposed to the actual number, because I won't be keeping all of them. But it's gotten let's put it this way, it's been filling the garage behind me, it's getting in the way of the Porsche, it's becoming a nuisance. It completely occupies my office, under the tables and around the office. There's boxes stacked everywhere, and along the landing in the house. It's just absolutely manic. It's just making it dark and not good, not good. So I decided that the time had come to make this video finally, talking about how stupid is your stash, which we'll get onto in a second, because it's not about me confessing my sins, it's about trying to tease out of you guys and girls just exactly what the hell are you playing at. Yeah? Is it just wanting the next new thing? It's like an addiction, yeah? A dependency, you might call it. It's like a drug or alcohol dependency. I've got enough of those. But, yeah, sometimes you realise that you've probably got to a point where it's a crisis. Excuse me. By the way, if you hear me coughing a lot, we've got this really strange weather we've had in the UK. May was record hot. Started record wet the first 2 weeks, then it went record hot, and then it was hot into the start of June. Then we've had this last week, so the second week in June, if you like, a torrential rain and high winds, and it's cold, and this is making I have asthma. Any fluctuation in temperature really affects me. So sorry if you hear any coughing and spluttering. I haven't got COVID or bloody cancer or anything. If the weather was settled down, if it would stay cold, fine, I'd settle down. If it stayed hot, fine, I'd settle down. It's like riding a roller coaster at the moment, and it's affecting me all the time. So anyway, enough of the medical updates. So when your stash gets out of control, you have got two options basically. Now we did talk about this before. You've got three options. You can build them, you can sell them, give them away, or you can do like the chap in America did. Remember the story in the previous How Stupid Is Your Stash episode 2? We had this chap in America, chap in the UK said, Peter, you've got no problem. I've got 1,800 kits, and I was like, you've got what? And then finally I mentioned this in the video, and this chap popped up and said, oh gee, buddy, that's nothing. This guy that had 1,800, he said, it's become such a big problem for me that when my next door neighbour put his house on the market, I decided to buy the house next door to put my stash in. And he says, a stash of 6,000 kids. Oh boy. So, that is the world champion when it comes to the size of stash, as far as I'm aware. And they literally bought a house next door somewhere in America, and it's probably quite a big house, you know, so it won't be small. Jeez, so he said, yeah, I now live in one house and I make models and store them in the other house. This sounds cool to me. What do you reckon? I think that is the ultimate solution. But here's the thing. Some of you that follow my channel very well, closely, I hope many of you follow my other channel, Peter Goes Rogue, and I'm just interrupting myself here to interject with a quick plea. Peter Goes Rogue is still not generating anything for me at all, even though I'm very enthusiastic about the channel. Now, it really needs everybody watching this video to subscribe to my second channel, Peter Goes Rogue. Costs you nothing. It's not a commitment in any way. It just boosts the channel. And if I get another 200 subscribers, I can actually earn some pennies, because that's probably all it will be, for my trouble, which would be very bit of beer money, literally, nothing more than that. But it just feels that I'm running very fast and working very hard on that channel. Not as hard as here, obviously, but there's no return at all. So if you could please, all of you, please subscribe to Peter Goes Rogue. I really appreciate it. Anyway, I mentioned Peter Goes Rogue because on that channel you'll know that many of you that follow me there, I've talked about the car and all sorts of things, but one of the big themes recently was developers and trying to build houses directly behind where I live. And you know, we had one or two people pop up and say, oh, you're just an NIMBY, you're against progress. It wasn't that. It's not the fact that I live here. If it wasn't me and I was a friend of someone living in this loop, I think it was absolutely insane what they proposed. And it's been thrown out by the actual local government, the local council. rejected it, and unanimously, a unanimous vote, 9-0 in favour of rejection, because it was such a badly conceived design, etc. On so many levels. But anyway, the fact remains that for 2 years, my wife and I have really been wanting to move house, and we've not been able to. Not just because of the developers. First of all, we had neighbours next door who sort of beat us to it and put their house on the market, but chose an agent that we'd had, a real estate agent, that was absolutely dreadful, and they didn't seem to know this, and it took them a year to sell it, and it shouldn't have done, because it was a nice house, very nice house, and it should have sold in 3 months, 6 months, absolute max. And so we've been sitting waiting, and then just as they were about to sell, this development application went in. You can't win, can you? It's one thing after another. And that's another year, 18 months has now gone by. And now that's been rejected. Now, nobody knows what the future holds when you have a house anywhere. Many of you will recognise this, especially in the UK. There's so much development going on and so much lack of infrastructure to support it. But I'm not going to rant about that here. We're not talking about that today. But I mention it because we want to move house. Now the window of opportunity is open, because as things stand, this has been rejected and it's over. They can't come back and do anything to that planning application. They'd have to start from scratch with another one. Or they could appeal to the government. Now, a lot of you think, several people say, I'll just appeal. It's much more complicated than that, and I'm not going to bore you now on this channel with the details. It may happen. I think it won't, because they've got far too many other much bigger, higher stakes developments this particular company have. And apparently they're not getting on well with the local authority, and that they will be thinking very much about the bigger picture. So I don't think they're going to come back here. I think they may in the future, 5-10 years, who knows. In the meantime, we can now sell our house. We're free to sell. So we actually put it on the market. Now, why am I telling you this? Because suddenly this stash that I've got has become a major problem. Uh-oh. I mean, just in here in the garage, there's no point in saying, look at my fantastic garage, it's the Peter Oxley modelling lab, all white, like a laboratory, and look at my Porsche, and they say, well, you've got a Porsche? Where's that then? Because it's buried under so many bloody boxes of kits, and you can barely see it, it's gotten a little bit out of control recently. So clearly action had to be taken. This is the reason I'm not surrounded by kits. So basically, this is going to amaze some of you. This is absolutely true, I swear to God. I don't have a single kit in this house now, apart from that mosquito that I've just shown you, which I'm working on. I don't have a single kit left in the house. They've all gone. It's the ultimate solution. What a weight off my shoulders. And now I can look at you and say, how stupid is your stash? I don't even have a stash now. Well, not at home anyway. Let me show you my stash. Now, it's interesting when you actually are confronted with this, and remember, I've got it in different rooms, so I had some of it in the garage, some of it in the office, some of it on the landing. Some of it was actually in underneath one of the cabinets, tucked away, some of the wing nut wings, etc. Now, obviously I'm not going to reveal too much about the location and stuff like that, especially when you know that this is the famous Lost Ark warehouse where they wheel away all of my most precious kits. Let me give you a little taster though. So this is the Lost Ark, for example. Have a check on this. Just bear with me a second, I don't think we've got quite the screen as bright as we need it. No, indeed we have not. It resets the brightness, it really drives me mad actually. Right, here we go. Let's switch that on. Right. Now, this is using quite a wide angle lens, so I want to tell you that the boxes, where it says extra large, these are massive. Comes up to almost up to your chest, and it looks quite small in this photo. So this is because of the distortion of the wide angle lens. So that box below is absolutely humongous box. It's the biggest one they do, in fact. And there is the Lost Ark. And on the other side of it, it says, do not open, demons within. Yeah? Risk of Armageddon. Yeah? So that's the Lost Ark, that's where it's currently sitting. And then this is the other shot. This is my stash. The entire stash is in that photograph. Now, I have to say to you that it doesn't look that much. It's very, very deceptive though. because as I say, it's to get that in, it's a very wide angle lens. You've got boxes that would literally come up to, as I'm sitting down now, would come up to about my chin. The one that says extra large, they're massive, and we've got those stacked on top of each other. Just take another look. But it makes, because it's so neat, it doesn't look like you've got a big stash. But trust me, there's the best part of 350 kits there. 350 kits, because it also includes. Does it include the ICMs? It includes some of the ICMs. I don't think it includes all of them. You can see there's one or two with ICM logos on the box. So, is that right? Yeah, that's right. But this is just to give you a bit of a flavour. But the photo doesn't no justice whatsoever, simply because it's such a wide angle lens, and it's making those humongous size boxes. I've actually got one over there, an empty one. It's too big to bring over, but it's almost as tall as the Porsche. Yeah, that's how big it is. So when you see them like that, you see this stretched perspective. It fills the entire side of a container shipping unit, not shipping unit, storage unit, sort of medium-sized storage unit. So I have no stash anymore in my home. The stash is gone. So mine isn't stupid at all. Or is it? I know what you're all thinking. You're looking at me and thinking, but dude, you're now paying for a storage unit. That's how stupid your stash is. You've had to pay for storage. That's when it's really got out of control. How you be thinking, how is this better than the guy who had to buy a second home? What have I done? Oh! Now, it's a bit of a radical solution. But the reality is, you probably think, well, why have you done that? You don't need to do that until you move house, do you? But the reality is, due to the design of our home, it's quite important that if you're trying to sell a house, and this is not a cheap one, you really need to max it out, and you need to unclutter it. And we have really, really uncluttered this house. That unit has now got a few more items in it, not model related, obviously. And it was necessary to do that because we've already had some people viewing the house, and at time of recording this yesterday, a lady and her husband came with a relative, and first thing she did when I kept out of the way and we had the agent here, and she came to see me at the end and she said how stunningly immaculate the house was, and that it was an absolute credit to us. Flawless, she said. Absolutely clean, totally tidy, and just brilliant. Presented beautifully, she said. Now, it didn't look like that a week ago. My wife and I are absolutely pooped, sleeping like logs. We've been working sort of 8 to 9 hours a day, plus, well, actually more like 10 hours on Wednesday, I think it was, just to get this ready so people could look at the house. And it's when you get your stash, suddenly this thing about stashes, so forget about mine, I'm trying to sell my house, come back to that in the future, but in the meantime, it really did focus my mind when I couldn't believe it. I had to make 3 trips to the storage unit with our big estate, well, it's not that big, but the Honda estate car, full of these boxes, just of stash. 3 runs. 3 estate cars full. That's how big my stash was. And they're all packed very efficiently as well. Those boxes aren't full of. There's no empty bits in them. You know, there's 1 or 2 where I've had to put a little airbag in and stuff like that, but just to pack it out for safety, especially the wing-nut wings. But that is a very efficiently packed setup, and it occupies an entire side of an average size storage unit, and it's up to, let's say, up to 5 foot tall. 5 feet off the ground, the whole side of it. Let's say 350 kits. Now don't worry, those of you that are members, by the way, that are hearing this, your kits are in there, yes. We had to just remove them for the time being to create the space we needed. Don't worry, that's all in hand. And those of you that have written to me, by the way, thank you very much for all the members who wrote to me as I asked. Really appreciate that. Any more of you that haven't done so far, I need your contact details, I need your screen name, contact details, when you joined, what your interests, what your modelling interests are, all that kind of stuff, and your full name and address. And nearer the time, mid-late July, we'll be rewarding you but I'll have to send you my bank details just so you can pay for any postage or shipping. That's all. But so those kits are in premium condition. Don't worry, they've been stored very carefully. They've got anti-moisture pouches and everything, so they'll all be like new, brand new stuff. But it really did ring it home to me, though, having to take 3 estate cars, so basically 3 estate cars, having to travel effectively to a storage unit to unload my stash. That's how stupid it is. And I thought to myself, this is a bit crazy. Now, of course, when I do start giving these gifts as part of the membership offering, that will cut it down by about 50 or 60 kits, I suppose, over a few months. But yeah, it's sobering. It's very sobering. And you think, this is £6,000. This isn't like a nice small car I could have here, you know, or a conservatory, or a holiday for 3 weeks around the world, you know. I think our honeymoon cost less than that. Incredible. There you go. Anyway, enough about my story. So I have to say to you, the one thing it does do when you have to do the work I had to do, which was extraordinarily difficult, you know, because it's like Tetris, isn't it? You've got these storage boxes, and then you realise that they don't fit, or there's big gaps, or I can't get that model to fit in that box. But you don't want to mix them up too much. So what I've done is I've actually written on every box, outer box. Some of them are boxes within boxes. So you've got the kit in an outer box that's so big, and then that's in the big storage box. And I've catalogued everything. So it is not a guessing game, because that's absolutely critical. When you want to find something in the future, you don't want to start thinking, oh my god, which of these 13, 14 boxes is it in, you know? Because I think there's at least a dozen boxes more. Also, there's a little drawer unit, that's full of kits as well, and books. Ooh. It's been exhausting to actually confront your stash. So that's what perhaps I'm going to say today going forward, is it's time for you to confront your stash. Why don't you have a review of it? Why don't you do an inventory of it? Why don't you get the list? Your name will be going on the list, yeah. And update it with all the latest kits that you bought, unlike I've been doing. I've been so waylaid with everything else that it's one of those jobs that's gone by the wayside, I suppose. One other thing, that a slightly sad story that's modelling related. As part of this process of tidying up, I had some racing cars, Formula 1 cars from the late 80s, early 90s. They being Mansell's Ferrari 640 from 1989, both versions, the airbox version, the later version, and the early version without the airbox on the top, that he won in the first Grand Prix in Brazil. And also Ayrton Senna's car from 1992, McLaren MP47, I beg your pardon, MP47, and the MP45 from 1990, which was actually Gerhard Berger's car. But these had been out for years, not in a cabinet, and unfortunately just got really cruddy, you know what I mean, and when they're left out for long, you know, year after year. If they're not in a cabinet and they're not in a case, they get really gnarly, and it's not just the dust, all the decals are flaked off, the UV affects the plastic, and most of these weren't actually painted either, which hasn't helped. All become really nasty, so I'm afraid I was going to show them on the channel, but they were so unimpressive. I thought, if they were new, again, yeah, they'd be worth talking about and seeing, but they weren't. But I still have the figures here, so I'm going to zoom you back in. So these ended up, and this was a very difficult decision for me, because I didn't want to do this. So some of my favourite Formula 1 cars literally went in the bin, and yeah, the recycling bin, they went off on Monday. But here we've got the figures. So on the left, of course, it's Nigel Mansell. This is from 1989. In the middle, it's 1990. It's Gerhard Berger, looking at the timing screens, sort of. And on the right, it's Ayrton Senna. So let's have a little look at these. I'll start with Mansell. Obviously, he would have had the wheel in his hand. I don't think it's a bad likeness at all, really. It's certainly good enough. Certainly good enough. And you look at the business in his Ferrari. This is actually on his debut at Ferrari. and I thought I'd keep these for future kits because I can rework them. You do get a sense of how dusty they've got though, even though I have dusted them off once. Still look a bit filthy. I'm just, yeah, not great. They really should have been in the cabinet, these open sports cars, Formula 1 cars. So there we go, so that's Nigel Mansell, complete with his eyebrows. Don't know if you made that out or not. Does it open, the visor? Don't think this one does. No, that one doesn't open. But if you look very carefully, can I get this? Can we get this? Can you get the eyebrows? It's pretty good approximation of Nigel, and also the way that you have the very open type visor, the big eye holes. So that's him. Then there's Gerhard Berger, and here we have Gerhard from 1990 with his Austrian flag on this helmet, and he's looking at the Olivetti timing screen, and he was in the pits obviously at this point. He's got his hands around the screen, not the wheel. Looking at where he is, still only fourth quickest, struggling behind Mansell and Senna and Prost, which was always his problem. Let's put him back, and then finally, you have to hold it like that, old chap. Then finally, the great man himself, Ayrton Senna. And again, I've tried to get a good likeness, best I can. Not the greatest figure painter. He's got that sort of Brazilian, slightly darker toned skin, sun-tanned effect, you know. Yeah, and he's got the Brazilian helmet, the unmistakable helmet, the Boss adverts on the side, the National Bank logos, and in his heyday at McLaren. Sadly not winning the championship on this occasion because it was 92 and Mansell's all-conquering Williams had the measure of him. So there's Ayrton Senna. So yeah, zoom back a bit. There we have the three of them. Get them in together. Yeah, Gerhard is determined not to keep that in his hand. Yeah, so that was a bit painful, but I decided to I thought I'd salvage the figures because I can use them again. But the cars were just a bit. Also, my cat, don't know what she's been up to, but she jumped on this shelf they were on and clearly been paddling around because the rear wing was broken. It looked like Senna and Mansell had hit each other, which happened a few times, of course. What's that? Portugal 89 was it? 1992 in Adelaide, and other times when they cranked into each other. Oh, and Spa 87. They were always crashing into each other, weren't they? Or I like to say Ayrton was crashing into Nigel because I think Ayrton was the one that did the crashing. But anyway, but the cat had been on this shelf and had clearly done some damage. There's broken wings, and mirrors are broken off, and front wings are broken off, and all sorts. So they're in a bit of a state. Really, they could have repaired it. It was a bit like the Phil Flores story with his sat with Camel. You could have repaired it, but it's probably quicker to just build one from scratch. And it needed refinishing and redecorating. It wasn't worth it. So they went in the bin. Anyway, so back to your stash now. So what is I wonder how people are getting on at the moment, because obviously the model industry is costs are rising rapidly. There's been a lot because of the oil crisis in the Middle East with the war with Iran. Prices are going up. This might be a good time to sell off some of your stash if you're thinking of selling it off. You've got desirable kits like Wing Not Wings, Come To Me, Come. A Matchbox, oh yes. Come. Yeah, and basically it's really a case of sorry, I just need to check something. I'm not losing my train of thought here. I just remember I need something I need to show you later. But because of the way the market's going, it probably is time to seriously consider doing something about it. I'm not sure my solution is the best solution there. You don't really want to be actually paying for storage for your stash. But it does have some upsides. It's a way of making the problem seem to go away. And I've now said to people, oh well, you know, if somebody came to see the house and said, oh, it's wonderful, da 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 da, And I said, yeah, well, thank you, that's very kind of you. If you'd have been here a week ago, you wouldn't have thought so, because it was just horrendously cluttered, frankly. Horrendously cluttered. I'm looking for a very important thing to show you, and I am just having a little bit of a struggle because I didn't prepare properly. Let me see if I can find it for you. I'm having a little bit of an issue with my phone system. Anyway, I think we'll leave it because I've been there all day. So, have you had any thoughts about how you're going to go forward with your own stashes? Because if you know, there's two elements of it here. If you can find a way to make it sort of disappear, like I have done, and only have the one kit box in the house, one kit box. That's since the day I moved in, I've had more than one. You could persuade your significant other half that you don't have a problem anymore, you see. You could convince them that, yes, oh, I got rid of them, dear. Oh, yeah. No, don't worry about it anymore. Don't let it upset you anymore. The problem's gone away. Forever. Quietly, secretly, your double life, where you go to your storage unit and you put all the lights on and revel in your beautiful stash of Wingnut Wings or Matchbox or Tamiya, Edouard, Airfix. Yeah, Revel, Atari. Whoa, they're all in that unit. Makes me very nervous. I hope they don't have a fire. They said to me, oh, we've got insurance. I won't give you the details, but for security reasons. But we've got insurance against fire and all that sort of thing, or damp or anything. I'm thinking, I hope so. I don't know anybody's. What I'd hate is somebody in the next unit to have a washing machine that sort of belch liquid underneath. Can you imagine? Oh yeah, and they quoted a figure for the insurance, and I thought, well, that's about a third of what mine's worth. So, jeez. But it's quite a funny feeling for it to just vanish the way it's just literally disappeared, as though it never existed. And I now can walk around the Porsche here. We've got loads of room suddenly. It's just opened up a whole new world. So I could start a whole new stash. Oh, no, my wife sees me or hears me saying that, I'm going to be in a lot of trouble. But you couldn't you? I've got room now for more. Yes. It reminds me of these storage unit hunters? Storage hunters in this USA program where they buy a storage unit from someone who's disappeared or deceased or whatever, and then they find that they've either got a load of garbage or gold. They find the lost ark. They find a unit full of Wingnut Wings kids. So I hope nothing happens to me. My God, people will be queuing up here, won't they? trying to find the address and where to go. But yeah, interesting times. So the wider point is, I am just genuinely amused. Obviously, this is germane because I've done something very radical here, and expensive, you could say. But what are you doing about it? Are you just letting it drift and carry on and on and on? Have you stopped buying kits now for collecting? Are you buying them because you're actually going to build them? Which is really the most honourable answer of the lot, isn't it, really? Sensible answer as well. Or are you just in denial and don't want to think about it, don't look at it? It's not a big deal, I've got it under control. But you haven't, have you? You've got a problem. You don't even want to admit it. What are you going to do? How are you going to tackle this problem in the future? I mean, if you're a model shop or a manufacturer watching this, you'd be thinking, don't say things like this to them. We don't stop them buying kits. And we're certainly not trying to do that. But sometimes they can just take over your life a little bit, and there was an element of that with me. Excuse me. For sure, it was just getting to become a bit of a problem, actually. And you don't want to have a situation where you can't live your life or change your life, which is what we're trying to do here with a potential move, I mean, obviously people will be interested in why I'm moving, and it's not to do with the developer thing. Well, that's, in theory, that's now over anyway. We've enjoyed living here a lot, actually. It's a fantastic house and a great location. But we're looking for something a bit more convenient for my wife's work, and for me, for the YouTube thing, and for the channel, actually, also. We would benefit. We've seen a couple of houses where they've got like an outbuilding in the sort of bottom of the garden sort of thing, in quiet locations, and you're thinking, that would make a great YouTube studio. And we could have a bit more of a professional setup, perhaps, more of a permanent setup instead of having it next to the Porsche and having to manoeuvre around stuff. It's not ideal here. I mean, it does look great. I think it looks great anyway, but it's not the most practical setup. And also, as a modelling room, it's definitely, my modelling setup is not, as I've said before, isn't great. You know, I've got no spray booth. I'd like to have that. I'd like to have a professional spray booth. I'd like to have shelves, and it's not really practical to do any of those things here at the moment. So I think it's time for us to think about what our sort of needs are and have a change going forward, and have a move, really, and find something that gives a bit more flexibility and a bit more space, perhaps. Because what we've got really is quite an expensive house because it's in a very desirable location. It is location here. But where we live offers a lot of facilities. I don't want to talk about the developer thing. I have mentioned it on the other channel, all the list of things that we have got and some that we haven't that they claimed we had. But there are a lot of basic facilities here. We've got pubs and restaurants. We've got, you know, good shops and a health centre and a chemist, which is what a lot of people want as a co-op. So you can get most things right here in the village, most things that you actually need, daily essentials, no problem at all. So it's very attractive for people, you know, especially if it's somebody older, doesn't want to drive far, stuff like that. And it's very peaceful. That's the one thing that is good. Apart from when the bin men turn up, it's one thing that being at the bottom of the garden would get away from that, I think. So anyway, that's my kind of reasons and some of the logic behind it. But it has made me confront how stupid my stash was, and it was pretty damn stupid. And say those photos belie it, really, because they are wide angle. If you actually stood there, you think, "Jeez, what, really? All this is just models? Are you crazy?" It's like a stock room for a model shop. It really is. Too much, too much. But as you know, some of it's collected items. It's collector's items. So there we go. Anyway, how stupid is your stash? Have you updated your list? Have you revised the list? You need to do the list. Otherwise your name will be going on the list. Yeah. So, you know, try and keep on top of it. Try and keep it in mind if you can. I mean, I'm not telling people what to do. It's a free country and everything. But don't let it get out of hand, because I clearly did. And by having to, now I'm in a situation where I've had to confront the reality of that, and I've been digging boxes out from under the desk, and another box, and another box, and then there's this box of Matchbox, and this big box of Matchboxes, and it goes on and on. It's just absolutely crazy, really. And I think my wife was annoyed because we bought a load of these storage boxes, and probably over half of them I have used for my stash, and it's shocking to see it, stark reality of how much money you've spent on kit that you're probably never going to build. You know, 75% of those I'll never build. No chance. So, shame on you all. How stupid is your own stash? Let he who is without sin cast the first stone. Yeah. I sense a lot of sin behind the other side of this camera that are watching this programme. I think it's time that we all confronted it, and it's like the old joke about if your house was on fire, which ones would you save? And if the answer is just 2 or 3 of them, then you probably only need 2 or 3 of them, actually. It's a weird thing for me now, though, to have no kits in the house apart from the one I'm working on. None at all. Not one. Not a single model kit in this house. It's crazy. It's a very strange feeling, you know. It makes me a little bit, as I say, a bit nervous about the... hope nothing happens to them, you know, but it's in a good unit. How are you going to manage your own problems? Yeah, how are you going to sort of clarify things going forward. Have a think about it anyway. Anyway, that's it. How stupid is your stash? I probably won't do another video on this subject unless something... Well, maybe not for a year or two anyway. Let's put it that way. Not for the foreseeable future. It became. I was talking earlier saying I was going to do this video, but now this change has occurred. It made it very much more pertinent to talk about. You know, how you do store them and where you store them. Now, I'm very pleased to say that the way I stored my kits, the Matchbox and the Winglet Wings in particular are mint. Nearly all of them are absolutely mint examples. Literally, like they're still fresh in the model shop. And they have retained that because of the way I've looked after them. And I wouldn't leave them in storage for a long, period, a long-term storage, because I would want to have control. Perhaps in the winter when it's cold, wouldn't be keen on that. But the unit we've got is a nice cool one, so the summer weather won't be a problem for it. It's probably ideal, actually. Probably better than having it up in our rather warm house. That's an asset, by the way, for anybody wanting to buy it in the winter. But it's nice to have a tidy up as well, and it's a decluttering, and it's a bit of a Ron Dennis moment. I'm going to talk about him soon on the other channel. He's the next one I've got to film, I promised. But it's a bit of a Ron Dennis moment. You know, he always says, this is how we... Sorry, that's the phrase he uses. These are the things we have to do to win world championships. And we have to make sacrifices that are necessary. And that's very true. And the same here. This is necessary. There's no way you can have 400 kits sitting around with people trying to look at your house. It's just ridiculous. It just gets in the way. Utter clutter. However, if you're not moving, obviously that's just not an issue for you. But I know a lot of people store them in the loft. I have to be honest with you, that's not an ideal place to have them, because it's very cold in the winter and it's very, very hot in the summer. If you can, try and find a more neutral sort of room temperature environment for them. You don't want any cold, you don't want any damp, and you don't want any heat. You want, a temperature of about, let's say, between sort of 6 and 16 degrees. Perfect, I think. Well, maybe 10 and 16 degrees, Room temperature, sort of spring/autumn room temperature. And of course, as I mentioned, all mine have got these anti-moisture pouches that I put into storage. They're already well catered for in that respect. And you just got, if you do want a stash and you want to look after it, you've just got to make sure that you create the right environment and the climate is right for them, because it's really important. Anyway, thought you might like to hear what had happened. And as I say, that's the reason I haven't got them all around me, because there's none here. There is no stash. So, how stupid is your stash? Mine isn't stupid at all. I'm like Simon Templar the Saint. Do-do-do-do-do-do. Halo around my head. Do-do-do-do-do-do. Except not really a halo or a saint, am I? When I'm paying for a storage unit, it's not very good. My wife said, "We're not paying for the storage unit, just for your bloody stash." Yes, we are, actually. But it's not ideal, is it? It's not ideal. If you need a storage unit for your stash, then it is, by definition, rather stupid. So, as I said, me trying to be a paragon of virtue is not really cutting it at all. But it does bring it into perspective. And I say that the shocking thing, in summary, the shocking thing for me is just to see it and think, one part of your mind says, well, it's just all there. It's not all over there and all over there and upstairs and downstairs. But it's still pretty stark when you see the sheer volume of it, all these huge boxes, 13 boxes, absolutely mad. Crazy. Big boxes. Huge. Yeah, unpacking those is going to take a couple of days, frankly. Anyway, you go and concentrate on your own sins, yeah? Yes. People in glass houses should not throw stones before you start laughing and criticising me too much. Go away and have a think again. And perhaps we'll come back to this in a couple of years' time. But in the meantime, try and get it under control, boys, yeah? Anyway, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed today. Something a little bit different. Circumstances for me obviously have changed, and it's really brought this subject right up to the top of the agenda. How stupid is your stash? As my wife said, it's bloody stupid. Anyway, thanks for watching. Take care of yourselves. Stay well, stay safe. Until next time, thanks a lot. I'll have some more updates for you. I will have a mosquito update because I'm determined I'm going to have a little go with this now. And now I've got all this clutter. And everything feels uncluttered and like a weight has gone off my mind, and I feel a bit more focused now. So I think I'm going to be able to get cracking, and we'll do a video or two. We'll do an open one, and we'll do one just for the members as well, where I'm showing you a few more techniques and things. Thank you for all the comments about the mosquito. Several of you made comments last week actually that popped up suddenly about seeing the engines, the Merlins. Quite a few people seem very impressed with that, so thank you. Yeah, more work to do. The toughest part of this build is actually done. It's just now working my way through and actually building it up with the wings and the undercarriage and all that stuff, and the guns, bomb bay and all that stuff, which should be good fun. Looking forward to it. So in the meantime, till we meet again, thanks for watching the video. Don't forget, as I mentioned, please subscribe to Peter Goes Rogue. Really need your help there. If everybody watching this subscribes to Peter Goes Rogue, we're absolutely laughing, frankly. And that channel can produce more and be more sort of justified in use of my time. And don't forget to subscribe and give us a thumbs up, give us a like, become a member if you'd like to. As I mentioned, there's some very worthy rewards you'll get, as well as all the benefits of some of the members only chat, members only channel videos, etc, etc. Lots of things to enjoy. Thanks for your support, really appreciate it, as always. And I will be writing to all of you that have contacted me in the near future. Sorry about the delay, but I say we've had a very busy week, very busy. But things are going to calm down in June, late June and July, I think. So, until next time, thanks a lot, take care of yourselves, and bye for now.